Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Science Talk with Tim. Today we're going to talk about the whole subject of can the planet Mars be terraformed, and can humans one day live there with no spacesuits? Well, over the years I've read a few different articles about this in some scientific websites and people like NASA and Neil deGrasse Tyson and Elon Musk and other articles I've found here and there about it, talking about we would have to do this, we would have to do that. Doing this would get us this far towards the goal, and we would have to do a whole lot more things to make it completely habitable with no spacesuits or anything. And I'm here to tell you, I have researched this myself, I've thought about it myself, and they're all wrong. Mars cannot be terraformed. Now, terraform means like here on Earth, you go outside, you walk around, no spacesuit, no fancy oxygen equipment or anything like that. Now, if you want to have something like in that movie Total Recall, like a huge dome over a little area and keep all the air in there with your buildings and things, yes, I think that can happen. But making the entire planet like that, no way, it ain't going to work. I've read things that show, well, if we did this, we would get so much carbon dioxide back in the atmosphere. If we did this, strip mine the planet. Well, who's going to have the equipment and the fuel to operate all the strip mining stuff to make it work? And even if it did work, the estimates I've seen show it's nowhere near enough oxygen or CO2 or whatever to make the planet habitable like that. So it ain't going to work. You get problems with the temperature, the atmospheric pressure. Now, here's the biggest problems I've seen. Number one, the whole CO2 thing. Every estimate I've seen says there ain't no way you can put enough back in the air to make it work. And number two, Mars is a dead planet. There's no magnetic field anymore. The whole core of the planet has cooled down. There's no magnetic field, and that helps a lot with keeping the solar wind from stripping away the atmosphere. Now, I've seen reports, it shows Mars had water on the surface at one point. There are ice caps on the planet at the North and South poles. So at one point, Mars had a planet, had an atmosphere, and it lost it. So even if you could make an atmosphere, who's to say it would stay? What are you going to do to stop it from just blowing away into space? Mars is 38% of Earth gravity, which doesn't help hold it in. It doesn't have a magnetic field, which helps hold it in. And it doesn't have any of the really important things we need to make it work. So if you want to have a little camp on Mars, maybe a little domed city on Mars, maybe mining underground into underground caves and stuff, yes, that could eventually work. But for the big picture, terraforming the entire planet, no. People say it'll work. All the scientific people say, oh, well, if this happened and in this perfect situation, then maybe. Well, I say no. All these scientific people with all the PhDs and stuff are wrong. It ain't going to work. It's not practical. It's not possible. And even if it did work, who's to say the atmosphere would stay there? So that's my opinion on that subject. It ain't going to work. It's a nice thing to think about and try to theorize what could be done to make it happen, but ultimately not on a big... The gazillionaire. Do I have a science background? Yes. I went to the science technology of the internet forums. I read things on the internet, and that's how I get my information. Well, even before there was internet, I used to do all kind of, some science stuff anyhow. But, I don't read just one thing, gazillionaire, and form an opinion on that. I read a whole bunch of different things and think it out myself, and then I have my opinion. So, if you can find a way to do it, then you better tell all these scientific people how to do it, because I've seen what they have to say. I've thought about it myself. It's not practical. It's not possible. We can't even take all of our own extra CO2 and put it in a huge tank and fly it to Mars, because number one, that's nowhere near enough, and number two, it's not practical to do that. So that's my opinion on the subject of terraforming Mars. Maybe a little bit, maybe a little dome city, fine, but a big planet-wide thing? No, ain't gonna happen. So that's all for today with Science Talk with Tim and the idea of terraforming Mars.